If you haven't seen the first and second parts of this movie, you'll find the link to their videos in the first comment. You can watch them and then come back to watch the third part. The third part of the movie begins with an alien named Noel, who claims to be the god of the void and of all the worlds in the universe. He says he's been imprisoned in this place for a very long time, ever since his dark planet was struck. At that time, his children betrayed him and locked him up in this place. To make sure he would remain imprisoned forever, they hid the key to the prison in a specific location in the universe. Noel speaks to the monsters he controls and tells them that their mission is to search for the key everywhere until they find it. Once they do, he will use it to free himself from his prison, and then he will destroy all the planets in the entire universe. As a reward for helping him, he will grant these monsters eternal life. The monsters get excited, open time portals, and pass through them to begin their search for the key. Then we move to Mexico, where we find Eddie and Venom sitting in a bar there. Eddie appears talking to the bartender, and at that moment Venom wants to drink alcohol. When Eddie refuses, Venom forces him to make a specific cocktail so he can drink it. After that, Eddie sees the news on the television and discovers that he is wanted by the authorities, and the police are searching for him because they believe he killed a police officer named Molly. So Eddie decides to run away, but he doesn't know where to go, and at that moment he sees a small model of the Statue of Liberty in front of him. So Venom suggests that they travel to New York because he's always wanted to see the real Statue of Liberty. Eddie agrees with Venom's idea. It's then revealed that a part of Venom's body was transferred with the coin Eddie left behind. After Eddie and Venom leave the bar, they start looking for a way to travel, but while they're walking down the street, they hear dogs barking loudly. Venom understands that the dogs need help, so he decides to go and assist them. He and Eddie head toward the source of the sound until they reach a place where there are a large number of dogs locked inside metal cages. Just before they can free them, a group of villains appears. At that moment, their leader tells Eddie that he's gotten himself into big trouble. He tells him that he entered their territory without permission. Eddie ignores his words and asks him why he locked up the dogs. The man explains that he trains them to make them more aggressive and then uses them to eliminate intruders like Eddie. So Eddie offers him a deal to release the dogs in exchange for letting him live. The leader of the villains mocks him, and his men raise their weapons at him and threaten to kill him. At that moment, Venom wants to attack and eat them, but Eddie refuses and gives the villain leader one last chance. However, he doesn't listen and approaches Eddie, slashing his face with a knife. That's when Venom appears, kicks him, and throws him far until he crashes into the wall and falls to the ground. Then the rest of the villains open fire on Eddie to try to kill him. But then Venom appears to them in his full form and he teams up with Eddie. Together they manage to overpower the villains in seconds. After that, Venom gathers them in front of him and they're terrified of him. They ask in extreme fear who he is and he replies, telling them that his name is Venom. Then Eddie and Venom leave to continue on their way to New York. And one of Noel's monsters appears, searching for the key. At the same time, someone is monitoring Eddie and Venom through surveillance cameras, and he tells his assistant to contact General Strike and inform him of what's happening. Then we return to the bar, where the bartender is sitting and drinking, still in shock over what happened. Eddie and Venom are in the bar, and suddenly he sees a piece of Venom's body moving in front of him. He tries to catch it, but suddenly Strike appears and secures the sample. Then he asks the bartender about the person who was in the bar a while ago. The bartender tells him he doesn't know anything about him, but that he was a strange guy who talked to himself and that black-colored long arms would come out of his body. Strike then orders his soldiers to arrest the bartender and leaves the bar. In another place, we see Venom's offspring lying on the ground looking up at the sky, and suddenly the weather changes and a violent storm begins. So they run quickly to take cover from the storm, but lightning strikes them and the boy falls to the ground and dies. Then it turns out that all of this was a dream being had by a doctor named B, who wakes up startled because of the dream. After that, B gets in her car and heads to her workplace, which is located at Storm Base, an American base known as Area 51, located in a remote area deep in the desert because this area conducts experiments on extraterrestrial beings. After that, B drives her car into a secret location inside the mountain and descends to a depth of about 30 meters underground until she reaches the lab where she works, and there she meets General Strike. We learn that they work together in the same lab. When B enters the office, she talks with Strike and tries to make him understand that not all extraterrestrial beings are evil. Strike tells her that this idea formed in his mind because of his job, and that his mission is simply to capture extraterrestrial beings, while her mission is to examine and study them. Strike tells B that they were able to save Officer Molly from death. This happened after Nob analyzed a sample from the extraterrestrial specimens in the lab, which turned out to be from the same species as Venom, so B goes to check on Molly's condition with her colleague. At that moment, a doctor named Sadie arrives and greets B. As soon as Strike sees her, he hands her the Venom sample that he found in Mexico. At that moment, B asks Strike if there's any news about Venom's whereabouts, and he tells her that they're still searching for him. After that, they go to talk to Molly and try to understand what happened to him before he died. But they discover that the sample from Venom's species has successfully taken control of Molly's body. Then the creature from Venom's species responds to them and tells them that he is Clintar. All the creatures like him are going to die. That's because there are monsters hunting them down to destroy them and wipe them out of existence. So they ask him why those monsters would do such a thing. He tells them that they're just looking for a safe place. We go to the hands of those who are on a plane and are poor in it. Tightly. It's clear that Eddie isn't happy with what's going on. He tells Venom that he can't handle the wind. So Venom transforms into his full form to protect Eddie. At that moment, the monster is able to locate Venom and starts moving toward him. Suddenly, the monster appears right in front of Venom and tries to grab him. But Venom manages to dodge and then engages in a fierce fight with him. Venom is able to throw the monster into the airplane engine. At that moment, the monster's body explodes into very tiny pieces, and then Venom jumps off the plane with Eddie's body and transforms himself into a parachute to land safely on the ground. At the same time, there's a man named Martin in a car with his wife Nova, his son Elif, and his daughter Echo. They're all heading to Area 51 because Martin is obsessed with aliens and dreams of seeing a real extraterrestrial being. And while they're driving along the road, pieces from the body of the monster that was chasing Venom fall on them. But Martin thinks they're just small rocks that fell from the surrounding mountains and doesn't pay much attention. At that moment, we see the monster's body reassembling itself and the creature comes back to life. Then we return to Eddie and Venom, who have landed on the ground. After that, Venom re-enters Eddie's body and Eddie wants to know who this monster is and why it's chasing them. So Venom tells him that he is one of the monsters from Null, and he explains that he and the rest of his kind escaped from Null after Null imprisoned them on his planet. He also tells him that inside his body is the key to the prison where Null is being held. He explains further that the monster is coming to take the key and free Null from his prison. Venom continues speaking and tells Eddie that as soon as he transforms into his full form, the monster will be able to locate him through the signals emitted by the key inside his body. So Eddie asks Venom how they can get rid of this monster. Venom tells him that as long as the two of them are together, they'll be safe, and that the only way to destroy this monster and the rest of the creatures like it is to get rid of the key. But that can only happen under one specific condition. And that condition is that they separate from each other and one of them dies so that the key disappears. After that, Eddie sees a horse in front of him and Venom says that this horse will be their means of transportation to get to New York. Venom enters the horse's body and places Eddie on its back. Then they take off across the desert at an incredible speed, so fast that Eddie flies off the horse's back, but Venom catches him and puts him back. Meanwhile, in the lab, its usage is being. Strike is with B, and at that moment a soldier arrives and informs Strike that they've located Eddie's position after he parachuted from the plane. Strike then orders him to prepare a team of soldiers to go and capture him. We then cut to Eddie and Venom, who are standing by a lake so that Venom can drink from it. Suddenly a helicopter appears carrying Strike's soldiers. They hit Venom with a powerful wave of radiation, so Venom throws Eddie into the lake. Then he exits the horse's body and dives into the water after him. At that point, the soldiers change into diving suits and dive into the water, chasing them. One of the soldiers manages to grab Eddie, but Eddie pulls off the oxygen hose from the soldier's suit and escapes. Then another soldier arrives and engages in a fight with Eddie, and it becomes... The soldier tries to shoot Eddie, but Eddie overpowers him and forces him to move the gun away. Suddenly, a shot goes off from the gun and hits the soldier, killing him. Eddie is shocked and can't grasp the fact that he just killed the soldier. He surfaces to catch his breath, but then another soldier shows up and grabs him at that moment. Venom sees the soldier holding Eddie and they're heading toward the waterfall. So Venom rushes toward Eddie and transforms into his full form to save him. But the soldiers surround him and start electrocuting him with their weapons. Suddenly, the monster who had managed to track Venom's location appears and jumps into the water to catch him. But Venom manages to escape from him and gets out of the water. At that moment, the soldiers aim their weapons at the monster and open fire. But the monster doesn't go down and grabs them, eating them one by one. At that moment, the observer is watching everything unfold, completely shocked. As for Venom, he merges back into Eddie's body and they quickly escape the area. After that, he calls Dr. B and tells her what happened. Then he goes back to the lab. Obi and Sadie go to see Molly and ask what's going on. But they find that Molly is transforming into a creature from the same species as Venom. The creature speaks and tells them that a terrifying being named Null has sent monsters after them to destroy them. So they ask why Null would do that. He tells them that they imprisoned Null and escaped from him because he had been controlling them for a long time. And so that's why he sent the monsters after them. He tells them that Null is searching for the key that will free him from his prison, and that the key is inside the body of a black-colored creature from their species. The creature says that if Null gets the key, he will completely destroy them and humanity as well. So they ask Strike how they can stop Null from getting the key. So they say that they won't be able to do that because Null possesses an immense power that no creature can stand against. The creature says that Venom and the person he inhabits together form a force that holds the key, and he confirms that as long as the two of them are alive, that power will continue to exist. But if one of them dies, then that power will immediately disappear and the key will no longer exist. At this point, Strike realizes that the only way to stop Null is to kill Eddie or Venom so that Null remains imprisoned forever. It becomes clear that B doesn't agree with what Strike is planning to do, so he gets angry at her and tells her that his soldiers died and he has to avenge them. He also says that he will bear the burden of what he's about to do on behalf of all humanity. After that, he leaves her and walks away. Meanwhile, Eddie is walking through the desert. Suddenly, he sees Martin and his family in front of him. They're camping out to rest and have something to eat. As soon as Martin sees Eddie, he realizes that Eddie needs help, so he welcomes him, introduces him to his family, and invites him to join them. He offers Eddie some food, but Venom throws the food away and wants to eat Martin and his family instead. Eddie stops him. Martin is confused by what's happening, but Nova steps in to change the subject and asks Eddie where he's headed. Eddie tells her that he's going to New York. Martin replies to him, saying that he can give him a ride to a state near New York. He tells him that they're heading to Area 51 because he believes that aliens are living among them, and he dreams of seeing one in real life. Then Martin asks Eddie if he believes that there are extraterrestrial beings living on the planet with them. Eddie tells him that he really believes in the idea. After that, they get into the car and start their journey. At that point, Martin begins playing the guitar and singing with his family. Finn enjoys the song and keeps repeating its lyrics. Night falls and everyone is asleep, but Elif wakes up and wakes Eddie too. Elif pulls out a chocolate bar from his pocket and offers it to Eddie, asking him to keep his voice down because his parents have forbidden him from eating sweets, so he takes. Eddie takes it from him and thanks him. Then Elif asks Eddie if aliens really exist. Eddie can tell from the tone of his voice that he's scared. So Eddie tells him that it's all just myths and that aliens don't really exist. Then he feels reassured and sleeps on my shoulder. At that moment, Venom is impressed by Eddie's actions and tells him that he would make a great dad in the future. He also says he's glad he didn't eat that family. Shortly after, they arrive in the state of Las Vegas and surveillance cameras spot Eddie and pinpoint his location. At that moment, Martin gives Eddie some money and hands him a pair of sandals to wear since he noticed Eddie wasn't wearing anything on his feet. Eddie thanks him and asks him to take care of himself and his family. As soon as Martin leaves, Venom eats some chocolate and is really happy with how it tastes. Then Eddie tells Venom that Martin gave him $20 and they realize that this amount won't be enough to cover their transportation to New York. So Venom suggests that they go into a casino to gamble with the money they have and try to win a lot more, which would make it easier for them to travel to New York. Eddie is convinced by the idea, but the security guard stops him from entering because he's not wearing a suit. Venom gets annoyed with the guard and knocks him out, making him lose consciousness. Then he sees a man wearing a suit standing at a distance. So Venom goes up to him, hits him, and knocks him unconscious. After that, he drags him away without anyone noticing, takes the suit from him and puts it on. Then Eddie returns to the casino and enters without anyone stopping him. Venom starts gambling, but he loses all the money, which makes him really angry and he wants to destroy the game. Eddie tries to stop him and suddenly they see their old friend Chen in front of them, who knows the truth about Eddie and Venom. Eddie goes over to greet her and she tells him that she's staying at a hotel and invites him to come with her so he can get some rest. Eddie agrees and goes with her, but he's surprised when Chen says she wants to dance with Venom. Eddie tries to explain to her that they've come to an understanding and that Venom can't show himself, but Chen insists on her request and asks for one last dance before he leaves her. At that moment, Venom tells Eddie that he wants to dance with Chen, so Eddie yells at him and tells him that if he shows up in his true form, the monster will be able to locate him. But Venom ignores Eddie's warning, transforms into his true form and dances with Chen. At that moment, the monster locates Venom and rushes toward him at incredible speed. Venom and Eddie are shocked when they see the monster right in front of them, so Venom quickly re-enters Eddie's body. As for Chen, she's standing there completely terrified, so Eddie reassures her and tells her that the monster will leave. And indeed, it leaves the area. At that exact moment, the special forces arrive and hit Eddie with a radiation wave, separating him from Venom. Then they trap Venom inside a tube and take both him and Eddie to Area 51. At that point, the monster is able to locate Venom after his separation from Eddie and follows the plane, sneaking into Area 51 without anyone noticing. At the same time, Martin and his family arrive at Area 51 and sneak in through a small opening. They move quietly until they reach the top of a tall tower where they wait, hoping to catch sight of any alien being. At that moment, Eddie regains consciousness and finds himself locked inside a room in the lab. As soon as he comes to, he sees a creature from the same species as Venom in the room across from him, and the creature says, Kyle tells him that he must carry the key to keep Null imprisoned, and they learn that if Null is freed from his prison, he will destroy the entire universe. They also say that the lab contains many other creatures from the same species as Venom, and they ask him to free Venom and the rest of the creatures. This is so they can stand up to the monsters and destroy them. At that moment, Bai and Sadi arrive, and Eddie asks them about Venom. Bai tells him that Venom is in the lab. Just then, Strike enters with a group of soldiers and informs Bai that she has been removed from her position and that the entire station is now under new control. Under his control, he opens the room and brings Eddie out, telling him that he's going to kill him just like he killed his soldiers, and also to make sure there's no key left after he's dead. Then Strike pulls out his gun and shoots Eddie, but suddenly Venom appears from inside Sadi's body. We learn here that Sadi refused to imprison Venom and decided to keep him inside her body. Just before Eddie dies, Venom transfers into his body, removes the bullet from Eddie's body, and saves him from death. Then the monster arrives wanting to get to Venom, but a symbiote from Venom's lineage attacks the monster and tells Venom to escape quickly. However, the monster devours that symbiote and comes after them. At that moment, Venom asks Sadi and Bee to release all the symbiotes from his lineage. They follow his instructions and the symbiotes are released and randomly enter the bodies of the people present in the place. Together, they form an incredible force to confront the monster and kill it. After that, Venom enters Eddie's body in order to distract the monster and prevent it from tracking the key. At that point, the symbiotes from Venom's lineage and the special forces try to overpower the monster. Because the monster is extremely powerful and they can't stand up to it, Sadie, the symbiote from Venom's lineage, allows it to enter her body, transforming her into a very powerful being, and she attacks the monster. Meanwhile, Bee takes a tube containing a sample of the symbiote from Venom's lineage and keeps it. At that moment, Eddie escapes from the lab and the monster follows him. Martin and his team are shocked when they see what's happening. Eddie is using all his strength to escape from the monster. But Martin sees him and calls out to him, so Eddie comes up to them to be by their side and protect them from any danger they might face. We return to the battle where Strike grabs a missile launcher and aims it at the monster, firing a missile. The explosion is so intense that it causes the monster to fall onto the tower where Martin and his family are. But Eddie and Venom decide to rescue Alifo, his sister, and other symbiote creatures from Venom's hive move in to save Martin and his wife. After that, the monster reassembles its body following the explosion and begins emitting sonic waves, calling for support from Null. At that moment, the symbiote is forced out of Sadie's body due to the sonic waves, and Venom also starts to separate from Eddie's body, but Eddie holds on tightly and manages to pull him back. Meanwhile, Null continues to... A time portal opens and a monster comes through it, joining the existing creature to help it. Sadie quickly moves and reclaims the symbiote, which re-enters her body. At the same moment, Bee moves in, takes Martin and his wife, and escapes the place with them in her car. As for Sadie, it appears that the monster is about to kill her. So Eddie runs quickly and gets on the motorcycle. He requests for the helicopter to follow him. So Trike hears his name, responds to him and gives orders to the helicopter and the rest of the forces to follow Eddie. At that moment, B has already gotten Martin's family out of the place and takes them to their car. Then Venom emerges and reveals himself, and at that point the monster leaves Sadie and starts chasing him along with the other monster. Venom manages to lure the monsters to a specific location filled with fuel. The helicopter arrives and fires at the monsters, blowing them up. At that moment, they think they've eliminated the monsters, but suddenly one of them emerges from the smoke and attacks the helicopter, destroying it. Stryker gets out of his vehicle to rescue his injured comrades. He goes to pull one of them to safety, but the monster stabs him with a powerful blow that pierces his body. When Eddie and Sadie see what happened, they team up and attack the monster. Eddie manages to cut off its head, while Sadie takes Stryker and his comrade to a safe place. At that moment, the monster attacks Eddie, grabs him, lifts him into the air and is about to eat him, but suddenly Martin appears and hits the monster with his rocket, severing its head from its body. However, he's shocked to see the monster still alive and staring at him, so Martin runs away from the scene quickly. He returns to his family, and at that moment the monster calls for backup from Noel once again. The sound waves emitted by the monster cause the creature to be expelled from Sadie's body. This time the monster attacks the creature and eats it. After that, multiple time portals open and many monsters emerge from them. At that moment, Venom pulls Eddie and takes him inside the wreckage of the plane. It's revealed then that Eddie is seriously injured, and Venom tells Eddie that he's very proud of him, because it's the first time he's seen him fight with such courage and bravery, and he tells him that he's not a failure like he used to say about him in the past. Venom continues talking and tells Eddie that he always wanted to see the Statue of Liberty, so Eddie tells him that after they finish the battle, they'll go see the Statue of Liberty together. But Eddie is shocked when Venom tells him that this is the final battle, and they realize that they won't be leaving this place together, that one of them has to sacrifice themselves so that Null remains imprisoned forever. Eddie breaks down because he can't imagine living without Venom, but he has no other choice and is forced to agree in order to save the world from Null's evil. After that, Venom enters Eddie's body, heals his wounds, and gets him out of the wreckage of the plane together. Venom appears in his full form, extending multiple arms from his body, and merges with all the monsters that Null had sent. He keeps walking with them toward a specific location, and as he walks, he looks at Strike. Strike understands what Venom intends to do. Venom is heading toward the device that contains a deadly and flammable substance, and as soon as he reaches it, he pulls Eddie out of his body. After that, Strike believes. He takes the burden upon himself, gets up, and activates the device. The deadly substance pours down onto Venom and the monster with him. At that moment, Venom shields Eddie with an armored door to protect him. Eddie is deeply saddened as he watches Venom dying in front of him. After the substance completely covers Venom and the monster, Strike pulls a lighter from his pocket, sacrifices himself, and ignites the lighter, causing a massive explosion. Sadie falls to the ground from the force of the explosion, so B uses the sample she has and transforms into a creature from Venom's species. She manages to save Sadie. After that, we see Eddie in the hospital, thinking that everything that happened was just a dream. He keeps calling out for Venom, and at that moment a general from the army is beside him. The general responds and tells him that Venom is gone for good. He thanks him for his bravery and tells him that he managed to save the world from destruction, but warns him not to speak a word about what happened, or he'll spend the rest of his life in prison. After that, we see Eddie walking down the street reminiscing about his memories with Venom. He goes to the Statue of Liberty, which Venom had always wanted to see in real life. Eddie tells Venom that he'll never forget him. Then we see Null in his prison screaming in rage as he addresses humanity, declaring that their black hero is dead and announcing that the planets will be his and under his rule, and that all humans will witness this for themselves. And that's where the movie ends.